Y'all, welcome back to the attic. Sorry for the delay on this video. I had some pretty big setbacks at the end of the week, and I'm not feeling the greatest right now. In this video, we're going to look into wagers for UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Vallejos. But before we get into that, let's have a quick look at the bankroll recap. This one didn't go into last week's numbers, but since then we have gotten our monthly reload. This was 5 daily reloads that added up to $5 total. We only had a single card last week and it did not go great. On UFC 326, we had probably our worst performance ever, going only 6 for 12 on predictions and losing 5.97 units. As always, we closed out the week with the weekly bonus. This time it was $2.13, bringing our bankroll to $791.39. We'll have a unit size of 7.91 units, and most importantly for this card is 1.5 units will total $11.87. There is one more thing here. I got my birthday bonus, but this was after I had placed wagers already. So next week, we will have an additional $10 on the bankroll. We'll be starting off this card in the women's strawweight division with a battle between Piera Rodriguez and Sam Hughes. We've got a bit of wager history here, and it looks absolutely terrible. We haven't bet on either of these fighters in the past, and we also haven't won a single wager involving them. In total, our loss on these two amounts to 1.82 units. Something is going to change this time around because I'm being forced to wager on one of these fighters, and this time it's going to be the minus 142 favorite in Piera Rodriguez. All three models are incredibly close, with the most confident of them only getting up to 51.4%. The second fight on this card is a men's bantamweight bout between Elijah Smith and Su Young Yu. This wager history looks way better than the last fight. We've got 4 fights. We've bet on these fighters each 2 times, and we've cashed every single one of those for a total profit of 1.68 units. And the models here are reasonably confident between 60% and 67.2%. We've taken Elijah Smith as a minus 190 underdog for 2.85 units. We'll be back in the women's divisions for the third fight. This one between Mesquita and Montserrat. Did she change her name? That's Montserrat Rendon, right? Anyway, bantamweight bout. Only one fight on the wager history here. I took Mesquita and cashed as a minus 600 favorite for a total profit of 0.82 units. I'll again be wagering on Mesquita here, and she's about the same odds, this time at minus 550. This one cost me 8.25 units to return 1.5 units with a win. Moving straight over to men's bantamweight, this bout will be between Sosa and Lacerda. Another fight with very little wager history. I bet on Lacerda as a minus 240 favorite and cashed that one. Again, about 0.8 units of profit. This time, Sosa is a minus 210 favorite at the books, and all 3 models are reasonably confident in the mid-60s. This one cost me 3.15 units. It looks like my card order has gotten all out of whack, but the next one I've got is Vallejos versus Sousa. I've gone 2-1 wagering on these fighters, turning a small profit of nearly $1. In this upcoming fight, Sousa is a minus 300 favorite, and all 3 models agree that he will win, so I risked 4.5 units on it. After that, I've got a welterweight bout between Chris Curtis and Mesquita Oralbai. Another fight with perfect wager history, and again, I see that I've bet on these two fighters in every one of their bouts. In total, I've made a profit of a little over 2 units. This time around, I've taken Mesquita Oralbai, who's sitting at minus 260 at the books. It cost me 3.9 units. Moving up very slightly to middleweight for a bout between Eric Anders and Brad Tavares. When wagering on these two guys, I've gone 1 and 2 in the past for a combined loss of 0.59 units. In this upcoming fight, I've taken Brad Tavares as a minus 135 favorite. All three models are in the mid to high 50s, and I risked 2.03 units on it. Dropping down for a flyweight bout between Charles Johnson and Bruno Silva. It's been a tough run in the past with these two fighters. In total, I'm down 5.41 units, correctly predicting only 2 of their 5 fights. I'm going to hope that changes this time around, but the models are not extremely confident. Only 2 of them prefer Charles Johnson, and they are both in the very low 50s. At the books, he's a minus 205 favorite, so I risked 2.05 units on it. The next bout takes place at heavyweight between Vitor Petrino and Steve Asplund. One more of those matchups where I've got a perfect prediction history and the two fighters have won every single bout. In total, I'm up 2.64 units on these two fighters. In this matchup, the models are not very confident, but they all do favor Vitor Petrino. At the books, he's a minus 215 favorite, so I risked 3.23 units on it. The next fight we'll be looking at is a featherweight matchup between Marwan Rahiki and Harry Hardwick. I've got no wager history for these two, so let's jump right into the predictions where all 3 models favor Rahiki quite heavily. They're all very consistent, around 65% for the minus 270 favorite. I risked 4.05 units on a Marwan Rahiki win. Sticking around at featherweight, we'll see Andre Fili taking on Jose Delgado. My wager history here is pretty split, going 2 and 3, but that has cost me nearly 2.5 units. In this upcoming bout, Jose Delgado is a minus 325 favorite at the books, and all 3 models favor him in the low 60s. This one cost me 4.88 units to return 1.5 units with a win. I've got this one numbered as the feature bout, but there's no way that's true. It's a light heavyweight matchup between Umar Sy and Iwan Cutelaba. I've gone 50-50 on wager history here and taken a loss of about 2 units. This weekend, the models are very confident, all of them favoring Umar Sy, 2 of those being nearly 74%. Umar Sy is a minus 220 favorite at the books, and I risked 3.3 units on him to win. Our final women's bout of the night will be a strawweight matchup between Jillian Robertson and Amanda Lemos. I've gone 2 and 1 when wagering on these ladies' fights and nearly broken completely even with a loss of only 3 cents. This weekend, my money is on Jillian Robertson, but none of the models are very confident. At the books, she's a minus 195 favorite, so I risked 1.95 units on it. The only fight that I'm confident I've put in the correct place on this card is the main event between Kevin Vallejos and Josh Emmett. I've got perfect wager history with these two guys, going 5-0. I've bet every single time on Kevin Vallejos and every time against Josh Emmett for a total profit of 2.48 units. Nothing's changing here. Again, I place my money on Kevin Vallejos. This time, he's a minus 650 favorite, so it cost me 9.75 units. That's all the fights on this card, so let's flip over to our totals and see where all of our money went. UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Vallejos is a 14-fight card, and I found wagers for every one of those fights. The models did predict the favorite to win in every single case this week, but only 12 of those were confident predictions. In total, I risked 56.01 units on this card with a potential return of 20 units. I do have a couple of other cards, including one championship and LFA 228 that I've made predictions on. You can check those out for free on the Patreon. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you this week. As always, thanks for watching and good luck on all of your bets this weekend.